this is Stacy. We are at Dunndee Farms and we are enjoying some cold-blooded creatures today. One of my biggest lizards I have here that's an arboreal species is going to be the Panther Chameleon. Their scientific name is Furcifer pardalis, and one of our guys right here, he's actually taking a little drink right now. His name is Mr. Bluey. What's really unique about Panther Chameleons, and they come in all different shades and colors. If you think about a locality, say like we are located in Pasco County, we have Hillsborough County, there's different areas in Madagascar where these guys are endemic to, and depending on their region will depend on their coloring. So this particular guy is a nosy Fally cross, and so they kind of are rendered with these blue and white stripes. Along with their body, they've got this white stripe right here. Now as he's on my hand, you might be able to notice his digits. A lot of people think chameleons have 2 digits. In fact, they actually have 5 like us. However, they are fused. You have 2 on one side and 3 on the other. Being that these guys are arboreal and live up in the trees, they have to be able to hang on when the winds pick up. They also have this really cool prehensile tail, much like you see on a monkey. And what that does is that also acts kind of as a 5th little arm to anchor them onto a tree when they're moving around to hold their balance. Now chameleons, the way their eyes move, they see in 2 dimensions. So to give you an idea what that means, if you're looking at a flat picture book and everything in there looks flat, that's exactly how they see the world. So their eyes are constantly moving independently. I'm gonna see if I can get him out here so you guys can actually see his eye movement. So when I have him here, you're gonna notice he's just constantly looking around. But when he gets ready to eat or drink, his eyes will actually line up on the same surface. When that happens, he sees in 3 dimensions, much like we perceive the world. He can see something behind something else. So that's how he sees the world right there. Now these guys have this really cool bony structure. Panther chameleons have that, and it's a really kind of a neat little channel. As it starts to rain, being that they don't go to the ground a lot, they can kind of put their head down. It creates a channel for water to go down and right inside their mouth. So we're going to see if we can get him to eat something. I bought some bugs. Now some animals, reptiles, other animals, will eat things that don't move. But Panther chameleons will really eat anything that moves enough to catch their attention. Now these crickets happen to be dusted in a vitamin coating. In the wild, they're going to eat a huge variety of insects. Those insects are going to have a wide variety of different types of things that they eat, plant material. So they have a lot of different nutrients. So when we're getting bugs for our captive animals, a lot of those are farm raised, so they don't have the diverse mineral and nutrition things that your wild insects are going to have. So we have lots of different bugs that these guys will eat. Farm raised insects are, pretty prevalent now because a lot of people have different pets, such as not just reptiles, but birds, other types of exotic animals like sugar gliders, and they all need insect protein. They would get that naturally in the wild. I just don't think he's hungry. We'll have to see if his buddy in a little bit. Oh, he just caught his eye. Usually we feed them about 5 days a week. So adults like this that aren't still growing, they're just maintaining their weight. There we go. They don't need access to a lot of food. They have a much slower metabolism than a lot of other mammals do. Now these guys do change color, however it's not like you see on the movies. These guys don't get in front of a pattern and change to that pattern. That's not quite how it works. Matter of fact, all their colors always on their body. The way it works is there's layers. So the first layer is a clear, protective layer. Then you have under that layer you have like the yellows and the oranges. Then under that layer you have like the blues and the greens. And then beneath that layer you have the darker pigments, the grays and browns. And what happens is as they feel the need to change color, what's going to spark that are a couple different things. So if there is another male close by and they're trying to establish that this is their territory, they'll flash their colors to communicate because they don't make any audible sound. The other way that they'll communicate is if there's a willing female in the area. They will also flash their colors and change their colors to make sure that they know that, hey, I'm available, I'm over here. The other reason they're going to change colors is a day-to-day thing. So as reptiles wake up, because they are cold-blooded, they rely on the sun to warm up and function and actually digest their food. So they'll get real dark in the morning to absorb as much heat as they can. Once they get to the right temperature, they're looking to get at about 85 degrees in a basking temperature. We keep the ambient temperature of their habitats around 75 to 78. So there's always going to be a little basking light that we have up here that gives them a nice basking spot right above an area that they can perch. Now they will thermal regulate their temperature. So if they get too warm, they will move to another part of their cage to kind of cool down. So the other thing that's really important is our chameleons live outside under natural lighting unless it gets really extremely hot. But if they are indoors, they require another type of lighting. Now, reptiles are one of the few animals that can actually visualize UVA and UVB rays of light, which we can't. So it's important for them, because color plays a lot in their habitat and how they eat, that you require that lighting. So on top of here, just to show you guys, we have a T5 high output UV light. And what that does would mimic the sunlight. So to give you an idea, all day under those lights, 10 to 12 hours, is basically like 2 to 3 hours of natural sunlight. So as it is a good supplementation, if you live in an area where they can come out and get natural light, it's very healthy for them. Now, these guys are really unique. This happens to be a male panther chameleon, okay? Males, as in most of the animal kingdom, if you think of it, have the more vibrant colors. Females are made to blend in, so most of their colors are going to kind of be a brown, rosy, peach color, and they're not quite as big as the males. They are sexually dimorphic. So males, their body lengths get about 8 to 10 inches. Females get about, 5 to 6 inches. So they aren't quite as large as the males. Now, what's really cool is females, they harbor all the eggs. Now, depending on how much nutrition they get in the earlier part of the season will depend on how many eggs develop. They can have anywhere between 10 on up to 40 eggs. So that's a lot of eggs. So the one thing that they're at risk for is getting egg bound, where they get too many eggs, it fills up their cavity and they can't expel those eggs in time. So it's important, if you have a female, to make sure she has a good place to lay, because whether or not a male is present, it doesn't mean that she is going to lay those eggs. They'll hang on to them as long as they can, but if they don't feel comfortable, a good digging site, which would be a place they can dig down almost a foot. So a soft soil, you can make sand mixture, and they'll actually burrow down into a pot like the one that's in here, if you can see that, and they'll burrow down about a foot to lay eggs. So giving them a good spot to lay eggs is something very important for their health. Oh, male panther chameleons. They have, panther chameleons in general have a lifespan of 3 to 5 years. Now, females, if they're breeding and laying eggs, that does shorten their lifespan a little bit, but in captivity, they have a very healthy life of about 5 to 7 years for males. All right, well, I do have another male chameleon that I want to show you. However, they're very solitary animals and they don't really like to be around one another. Even the males and females, they only come together to breed, and then they're pretty solitary to begin with. So what I'm going to do is bring this other one out, and we'll put him over in another tree so you guys can check him out. The locality difference as far as the color is stunning. This guy is mostly blue. This other guy has almost every color in the rainbow. All right, so I told you we had another chameleon. So this is Rango, okay? You guys may know him from the movies. However, this little guy right here looks very different than our last one, right? He's got almost every color of the rainbow. These guys are also panther chameleons, but they're found in a different region than the nosy falli. These guys actually come from Ambilobe, and they're known as the most diverse in color type chameleon. So if you notice, he's got orange, he's got a little yellow on him, he's got red, blue, green, white, almost every color of the rainbow. And he does change color as well. Now, there are over 200 species of chameleons in the world. They are found in Asia, they are found in Sri Lanka, these guys are in Madagascar, you also have them in Africa. So they're found all over the globe, even though there are other types of chameleons that you'll find in areas like, say, Hawaii. They've all been introduced there. The Jackson chameleon, which is really unique because they have 3 horns. They have 2 horns up there and 1 on the bottom. They're actually found out in climates like mountain areas where it actually cools down about 5 to 10 degrees. So what you're noticing right now on his right eye, it looks almost like it is super swollen, but as I was spraying the water droplets, you see him on his back and stuff, some of that got in his eye, and they use that as an opportunity to help clean their eye sockets. Another reason that it's super important that you use purified, distilled, or reverse osmosis water is because if you're using tap water and you live in an area where there's high amounts of lime, you have a lot of sediment in your water, and that can actually build up in their eye sockets and create a thing where it can actually scratch the lens and they can get an eye infection from it. So what he's doing is using the water to push around in his eye to make sure there's nothing in there, and he'll actually use it and rub it against a branch or something that's close by. So this little guy right here is not full size. He's actually about 7.5 months old now. They fully mature and stop growing. Well, I say stop gaining length at about a year, year and a half. They can breed as early as 5 months, but most people want to let them establish, finish growing, and creating their reserves of calcium and all the stuff that they need. So as you notice, he's looking around right now, and his eyes are moving completely independently. One thing that's really unique to know about these guys is they only see in 2-dimension until their eyes line up. So it is key not just putting a bowl of water in their cage, they're never going to see it. It's a flat surface to them. So they drink when they see movement. In the wild it would be if it's raining, or in captivity here, we take a sprayer and you can do like a natural little rain for them, kind of like that. And if they're thirsty, what they usually do is wait till the rain's kind of done, and then they'll go back and just lick the droplets. Another way you can achieve this same thing is some people use water drippers, something as simple as a cup with a tiny pinhole in it. I take my cup and I weight them down with a rock. So you can take a cup or a water bottle, just do a little pinhole, and then it just creates a slow drip into a plant. They'll see that drip going down, and then they'll go and look for food to eat. I wanted to show you guys something. So reptiles, as they grow, they actually molt. They shed their exterior skin, and we've got some shed right here. Little guys obviously are growing a lot faster, so they molt a lot more. These larger chameleons, it's about 7 or 8 months old, they shed about every like 2 to 3 months right here. So it's really paper thin. It's pretty neat. You can see all their scales on there. Obviously there's no color because we talked about how on chameleons that first layer is actually just a clear coating. So that's the only part that sheds off there. Then when you look at snakes and other animals, other lizards, some of them do shed, and you'll see their actual stripes and their pattern on there. So we're going to give him a little treat. Show him he's done a good job. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about chameleons. Next week we'll have some interesting animals, so please tune in again.